Good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabo.
Good evening, and I am Noble Crosbyan, and these are the headlines of the bulletin tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Tonight, Cabinet agrees on what government describes as far-reaching measures to help address current funding crisis facing Ghana's cocoa sectors. Finance Minister Dr. Tuforsing is set to announce the details on Thursday.
And also coming up tonight, work resumes on the long-delayed La General Hospital redevelopment project.
Electoral Commission and political parties agree on modalities for the Ayawaso East by-election, with candidates set to ballot for placement on Thursday.
Coming up in business news, President John Mahama swears in Presidential Advisory Group on the Economy tax for steering Ghana towards recovery and long-term stability amid cocoa board funding crisis.
We'll bring you some international news later as Nigeria's military clarified that the about 200 U.S. troops due to arrive in the coming weeks would not take part in combat action.
We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
Let's start the bulletin with some agricultural related news because Cabinet has approved what government describes as far-reaching measures to address the current challenges confronting the country's cocoa sector. The sector is grappling with severe funding crisis following the inability of the Ghana Cocoa Board to promptly pay farmers and license buying companies for cocoa supplied. Minister in charge of Government Communications, Felix Kwatshofo, addressed the media after the emergency cabinet meeting, which the president chaired today.
We have just concluded a lengthy cabinet meeting, which was an emergency session that discussed the cocoa sector and matters arising there. And at the end of the emergency session, decisive measures have been agreed upon regarding expedited payments of cocoa farmers, regarding the implementation of the most drastic reforms in the cocoa sector, with a view to achieving quantum leaps in domestic processing of cocoa as opposed to exports of raw materials, and various reforms to be carried out at Cocoa Board in order to ensure more effective administration and management of the cocoa sector. Now, at 11 a.m. tomorrow, the Finance Minister will address the people of Ghana and announce these far-reaching measures as agreed upon at the end of the cabinet meeting today. So that is what I have for you right now. If you have any questions, I can take it. But tomorrow, 11 a.m., meet the Finance Minister here for a comprehensive briefing on all the measures that have been agreed upon at today's meeting. Thank you very much.
Now, lawyer Edward Kariwa is director in charge of policy and advocacy at the Legal and Entrepreneurship Support Hub. He's also a former general secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, one of the many stakeholders affected by the current happenings in the cocoa sector. Lawyer, thank you so much for joining us. And you heard from government spokesperson. He spoke about decisive measures that have been agreed upon and various reforms at Cocoa Board. From what you said, what tangible solutions can government immediately implement to salvage the livelihoods of these farmers?
Yeah, good evening to you and then to our viewers. I think that it is clear that there are livelihoods that are at stake. Many cocoa farmers cannot sell their beans, and it is out of the proceeds from the beans that they take care of themselves. So certainly an immediate, measure will be to get money to the cocoa farmers for them to meet the necessities of life. That is health needs, educational needs, and then other social needs before or whilst government now looks at the other measures that are long-term, which may include, include reforms at different levels of the value chain of cocoa production in Ghana. So the immediate thing to be done now is to at least send some money to the farmers for their produce.
If we move away from what government should do immediately, if we're looking at the other medium to long-term goals, what more measures would you like to see, or do you think can go a long way to solve this problem so that they don't recur?
Well, first you look at cocoa production in Ghana. So you break it down into 3 stages. You look at the production stage. The manner in which we engage in cocoa production, to what extent is that efficient? There's a lot of waste along the production level. What level of support that government has been giving to cocoa farmers, whether they'll take part of it off or try and make it more efficient. We all know that sometimes when farms are affected by diseases,
right?
The cocoa board goes in and we organize the farm and give it to them. To what extent is that efficient? So at the production level, and then also now to the marketing, we also know that when it comes to buying of the cocoa beans, farmers often complain about some of the buyers, cheating them. All those things need to be addressed. And then now to do that, we also look at Cocoa Board itself.
Right.
What their operational, their administration system and so on have to be looked at. And finally look at government interference. Natural fact, the cocoa industry crisis as we are experiencing today is not solely about production and then management at the cocoa level, but about government interference,
right,
to a large extent in the operations of Cocoa Board. So all that needs to be looked at. I'm not saying that government should completely divorce itself from cocoa production, but to what extent are they going to do that? And we need to look at all this. So I believe that these reforms will be needed to actually make the cocoa production efficient.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Lawyer Edward Kariwa is Director in charge of Policy and Advocacy at the Legal and Entrepreneurship Support Hub, also a former General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union. Let's do some other stories tonight.
Away from the cocoa sector, work has resumed on the long-delayed Light General Hospital redevelopment project, bringing renewed hope to residents who have lived without a hospital for nearly 6 years. Despite this excitement, residents say they remain cautiously optimistic, having endured years of delays and missed timelines. Sarah Apenkro was at the site and reports.
The original facility was demolished in July 2020 due to structural defects, paving the way for a new 126-bed hospital funded by the government of Ghana. However, repeated funding challenges stalled progress, with the most recent halt occurring in June 2025, when the contractor Polychanda Overseas left the site over unpaid certificates. After more than 8 months of inactivity, construction resumed on January 31. When the news team visited the site on Wednesday, February 11, workers were seen busily back at work. Government, through the Minister of Health, had announced 130 million cedis commitment towards the completion of the project, which is expected to be delivered within 2 years. For residents of La and surrounding communities, the development comes as a relief. They say the absence of the hospital over the years has brought significant challenges to the area.
We are frustrated when we visit the other hospitals. It's not been easy.
na kama di yo moje fe safo
ke o jebiye no ke o ya hospital aba ke bo ke sabe.
They will tell you there is no bed and so many issues. The other time, a man died in the community while being rushed to a health facility.
Despite their excitement, residents are urging government to remain committed to its promise to complete the project on schedule.
Solomon Jake Biani is an clinic afi uya.
We pray that this time around it will be completed and on time.
What was Solomon Jake is an polyclinic afi uya aha wo few.
We have seen that they have come, but the work is not consistent. Today they are there, tomorrow they are gone. They should please complete it for us.
At the time of filing this report, there was no authorized official on site to speak to the news team.
We've engaged with the people. They are excited, but their only hope is not to have work being halted again as a result of lack of funds. Sarah Apenkru, TV3 News, La General Hospital Project Site, Accra.
And let's do some politics now to the Ayawaso East constituency. The Electoral Commission has officially closed filing of nominations for the by-election in the Ayawaso East constituency. The parliamentary race is scheduled for March 3 to elect a new MP for the orphaned constituency. Joseph Armstrong Gold has the rest of the story.
It was a charged atmosphere in the Ayawaso East constituency on Wednesday as political parties and independent candidates made their way to the Electoral Commission office to file their nominations. From the constituency to the EC regional office, the area was bustling as supporters thronged the premises, chanting party slogans and waving flags. The first to file was the NPP candidate, Baba Ali, who arrived with strong supports from party executives and sympathizers.
It will surprise you that the new Patriotic Party is going to win this seat. All we know is that the party is sponsoring him. We have successfully filed our documents, and this is the beginning of the victory journey we have embarked.
Shortly after they exited the EC office, the NDC candidate Baba Jamal arrived with his supporters amid cheers and party songs. The NDC candidate later spoke to the media after filing his nomination.
I want to assure the good people of East Ayawaso that I am here to work with them. The victory is for all of us. If the party maintains the seat, it's for all of us.
He expressed confidence in winning the upcoming by-election.
I am not motivated by materialistic things. I'm motivated by service and service to mankind. I am here to serve, and I'll do my best as a human being, together with my friends, the other contestants, the constituency executive, the regional executive, and the national executives, to ensure that the best comes out of me in the interest of this country.
The Electoral Commission says it is putting all necessary measures in place to ensure a peaceful and transparent by-election on March 3rd. Joseph Armstrong, Good Alogbe TV3, Ayawaso East, Accra.
Meanwhile, the new Patriotic Party's National Director of Research and Elections, Evans Nimako, says the party will back moves by the Electoral Commission for a national electronic voter transmission system. He was speaking after an inter-party advisory committee meeting ahead of the Ayawaso East by-election.
Today's meeting by Electoral Commission sought to discuss Ayawaso East by-election and other related issues. I mean, we all know that it's happening on March 3, 2026, and the new Patriotic Party is ready. We filed our candidate, Baba Ali, received this morning. Tomorrow, we are going to the regional office to participate in the ballot. But for IPAC meeting today, other discussions had to do with EC to conduct a review of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. That has not been done, and so discussion with the EC has admitted that it's an important exercise that needs to be done. EC also intend introducing what we call results taken electronically at voting centers, and so they are going to pilot this exercise at the Ayawaso East by-election. And the New Patriotic Party is in full support. A situation where results get destroyed by hoodlums will be a thing of the past. And so we will support the EC to file a new CI to give a legal backing to an arrangement where results will be collected electronically to collaborate with the manual transmission of election results. I think by and large, there's understanding among parties that is the nice way to go. And
meanwhile, the Deputy National Director of Elections of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Tanko Rashid Computer, says the party is poised to increase its vote margin in the upcoming by-election.
We've agreed that we are going to deploy 2 party agents at a time for each of the polling stations. Ideally, it's supposed to be 1-1 because it's a parliamentary election, but because it's just a restricted parliamentary election, they've given us that opportunity that we'll deploy 2 party agents for each of the polling stations. We are ready. We have filed our candidate today. As we speak now, we have officially filed. We are going to win. Our aim is to increase the margin. I mean, that is what we are going in. It's not about winning. It's about increasing the margin. We got the last time we were 22,000 plus. We are expecting to go further, at least to about 25,000 more, because of the good works of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and what the party is doing for the good people of Ayawaso and all that. So we are expecting a very massive win. We're thinking our opponents will just chicken out. I mean, naturally, because it's not a place for them to come and waste anybody's time. But since they are coming, let them come. We'll give them the heaviest defeats in their life as a political party, MPP. And so we are ready.
Away from that, government is now required to produce Ghana's agreement with the US allowing American deportees to be brought here. The Supreme Court's order comes as Democracy Hub sued to challenge the constitutionality of the agreement that allowed West African nationals to be deported to Ghana. Lord Edwasari has more in this report.
The pressure group has filed an injunction application to restrain the government from further accepting US deportees and deporting them to their home countries. Democracy Hub is also praying the apex courts to compel the government to release its agreements with the Trump administration regarding the deportation of West African nationals to Ghana. In their unanimous ruling, the 5-member panel of justices presided over by Justice Gabriel Scott Pwamang indicated that the Deputy Attorney General had presented the deal to the judges in chambers for inspection. However, the court noted that it was necessary to disclose the arrangements to the plaintiffs so they could assist the court during the substantive hearing of the case. The court further held that lawyers for Democracy Hub may file supplementary statements on which they will rely on. Lead counsel for the plaintiffs, Oliver Bakavomawo, expressed satisfaction with the ruling.
I think that as far as we are concerned, it adds another resolve to our step in ensuring that there's full transparency into the process. I hope, after this process and once we inspect it, if there's a need that we challenge the restrictiveness of the document in the public interest, that's something that we'll take up that step afterwards. We are committed that the people of Ghana, to who the democracy belongs to, can audit the steps of government across all the time. And so the issue of whether or not it should be in the public domain is something which has not been yet considered, and that's something that we'll think about going forward.
Vomawa noted that he was hopeful the Attorney General will be cooperative following the Supreme Court's decision.
Today, we hope that we will already serve them a letter before close of business today. If not, latest early tomorrow, as soon as we're able to receive it. And pray that we're able to see that immediately, preferably no later than Monday. We do hope that our access is facilitated as early as possible for us to achieve that.
Lodi Rasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Let's now go to the eastern region where the Koforidua District Court B has adjourned the case involving 2 students arrested for alleged gang rape during the inter-school sports event. The 2 underage suspects have been remanded into the custody of their parents and expected to reappear in court on February 18.
The two students were arrested by police for allegedly gang raping a female student during the recent ended inter-school sport event in Koforidua. They have been charged with conspiracy to commit a crime, to which rape and rape. One of the suspects is also facing an additional charge of robbery. Police investigation into the matter is still ongoing. A third accomplice is still on the run. It was a remorseful and reflective mood for the suspect of the gang rape incident here at the Koforidua Circuit Court B. The relatives were also in a reflective mood, considering the circumstances and the severity of what may happen for these underage students. They will reappear in court on February 18th. I'm Koforidua, Yvonne Nikwe.
Now, the suspect involved in the attempted arson attack on the Grace Mountain Alpha R Church is expected to be arraigned before court on Thursday, February 12. Now, she is currently in the custody of the Mile 7 District Police Command awaiting prosecution.
On Monday, February 9, 2026, the suspect was among a few church members who visited the auditorium for an evening prayer service. Closed-circuit television footage released by the church earlier shows the female suspect placing money on the altar before walking away. Moments later, she returned and sprinkled a substance suspected to be fuel on chairs before setting them ablaze. Her motive for allegedly attempting to set the church on fire remains unclear. The Mile 7 District Police subsequently arrested the suspect to assist with investigations.
Devil, hear me. It won't stop us. We will fix the place. Yes.
Church services have been suspended and the premises cordoned off to allow for a thorough police investigation.
People are praying every day. So we are unable to close our own auditorium because people are ready to pray. It's a revival and God is doing marvelous things through it. People are ready to pray. But from today until further notice, I'm sorry you can't come because of what somebody did yesterday.
Report indicates that the suspect is not a resident of Ofankor, but occasionally attends prayer services at the church. At the scene, some salvage chairs have been parked outside as investigations continue. The police is, however, yet to conclude investigations on the matter. Stanley Niblew, TV3 News, Ofankor, Accra.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Service says it is investigating the alleged arson attack at the church premises in Accra. The suspect has been cautioned and is currently in police custody, assisting with ongoing investigations. The Accra Regional Police Command is assuring the public of its commitment to ensuring safety and security and is urging members of the public to promptly report any suspicious activities to the police. And the suspect, whose name is Kese Otriwa Cranton, unlawfully entered the church premises, sprinkled petrol in the auditorium and set the place on fire. Items destroyed in the fire include an air conditioner, chairs, windows, 10 offering boxes, ceiling materials, electrical cables and lighting system. In more news tonight, on International Day of Women and Girls in Science, attention is turning to who gets to produce knowledge and who gets left out. Women remain underrepresented in science globally despite growing awareness. In Ghana, one science communicator's journey highlights both the progress and the pressures facing women in the field.
That time was not easy at all.
She began her career asking questions as a journalist, but one interview would change the direction of her work and pull her into a field where women remain underrepresented: science. According to UNESCO, around the world, women make up just about 1/3 of researchers. In sub-Saharan Africa, the proportion is even lower.
So many things were crisscrossing, and I had to understand them. It was just that curiosity that drove me into wanting to find out what really was those things all about. And so I built on that, got myself prepared for some opportunities that came my way and utilized those opportunities, and I found myself.
Much of Africa's scientific research remains inaccessible, locked behind academic journals and technical language. Studies show women in science are less likely to access research funding or senior leadership roles. Many leave the field altogether, often due to structural barriers rather than lack of ability. In Africa, social expectations and caregiving responsibilities continue to weigh heavily on women pursuing scientific careers.
There isn't that much opportunity for women in science, and that is why in the first place, this day was recognized, because science is popularly dominated by men, and usually it borders on the multi or the dual role that women have to play, combining other aspects of life to that of this field.
For her, the cost has been deeply personal. In Ghana, women remain underrepresented in core STEM fields such as engineering and advanced research, despite progress in education and growing visibility of female role models. She says the challenge is no longer talent, but sustained investment and institutional support.
This is a role that nobody has played before. I am the first person into this place, and there's no structures. I went through that. It was so challenging moment for me, and I had to send my dad back home to quickly organize my mom to come from the village and come and stay at my place in Accra, so I can push my daughter and have the clear mind to be able to do this.
As the world marks International Day of Women and Girls in Science, her story reflects a wider reality of progress made, barriers still standing, and the quiet resilience required to stay the course.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama has directed the Minister of Finance, the Attorney General and the Ghana Water Company Limited to begin negotiations with shareholders of the desalination plant. The goal is to resolve the impasse and restore water supply to affected areas. According to the Ghana Water Company Limited Managing Director, this follows complaints from residents who do not have access to regular supply of water as a result of the plant shutdown.
For months, lives have been disrupted, school attendance affected, businesses near collapse, and households forced to ration water. Many residents living in and around Teshi have had to rely on sachet water and water tankers to meet their daily needs. The desalination plant, built to serve Tema, Sakumono, Spintex, Teshi, and surrounding areas, was shut down amid unresolved contractual dispute and poor maintenance. Managing Director of Ghana Water Limited, Adam Mutawakilu, says negotiations are underway to reach an amicable resolution and restore supply to affected communities.
His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has directed that the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Attorney General Works and Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Ghana Water Limited, and the shareholder and letters of the desalination should engage for amicable solution to getting back the desalination plant. We are pushing hard to make sure that it's resolved once and for all, and the plant will start and produce water.
At the launch of Ghana Water Limited's Revenue Arrears Reduction and Electronic Payments Campaign, 200 national service personnel were introduced as field agents to educate customers on digital payment options. The initiative is aimed at reducing arrears and ensuring compliance. According to Mutawakilu, outstanding arrears stand at 866 million Ghana cedis, with 551 million traced to Accra and Tema, representing 66% of total.
What strategies are there for us to use? So with my management, we deliberated and came out with the fact that if we engage the national service personnel, dedicate them to collection of arrears, while we ensure that the district do not continue to accumulate arrears. So the district are assessed based on key indicators, and one of them is reduction in arrears. So as we speak, the arrears is dropping month by month as they collect. But what has been accumulated, we need to recoup it.
Debts owed to Ghana Water Limited continue to be a major hindrance, with unpaid bills weakening the company's cash flow.
News 360 returns with more stories after this break. Please stay with us.
Why settle for a bouquet when you can
And hello there, good evening. Welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has inaugurated the Presidential Advisory Group on the Economy page at the Jubilee House amid crisis in the cocoa sector. The team of experts is tasked with steering Ghana toward recovery and long-term sustainability.
The committee, chaired personally by the President, features a blend of institutional memory and fresh academic insight. The 12-member group features heavyweights from across the economic spectrum. Beyond seasoned statesmen and women, the President emphasized the group's diversity.
You're expected to provide strategic counsel on macroeconomic management, fiscal consolidation, debt sustainability, and the coherence between fiscal and monetary policy. You are to advise on structural transformation, industrial development, competitiveness, and export-led growth strategies. In addition, you are to conduct periodic assessments of Ghana's economic performance, propose policy adjustments where necessary, and contribute expert input to Ghana's economic negotiations and engagement with bilateral and multilateral partners, international financial institutions, and investors.
President Mahama noted that the breadth of the group is strategic, aimed at restoring investor confidence and stabilizing the volatile cocoa and currency markets.
Handling of state-owned enterprises has also been uneven and at times haphazard. Weak governance frameworks, political interference, and inadequate financial discipline undermined institutions that were once engines of stability and credibility. We failed to raise sustainable funding for cocoa and the Cocoa Board's capacity to syndicate effectively, something it had done successfully since the early 1990s, and this was severely impaired.
Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman will also serve on the body, which the President says was strategically selected to avoid costly mistakes of the past.
Our commitment is to move from crisis management to durable success. We will foster dialogue, intellectual honesty, and collective responsibility, engage across sectors, and deliver actionable advice aligned with Ghana's long-term development vision.
The group is expected to begin deliberations immediately, with the ongoing Cocoa Board liquidity crisis likely at the top of their first agenda.
Meanwhile, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has urged the government to consider listing cocoa on the commodity exchange to help resolve financing and pricing challenges in the sector. The call follows Cocoa Board's inability to pay farmers for deliveries since November last year, a situation farmers say has harmed their livelihoods. Listing cocoa on the commodity exchange would increase price transparency for farmers and relieve government of the burden of buying at predetermined prices despite volatile global markets.
And the whole idea, one, is to improve activities on the commodities exchange. So only a few crops that are currently being traded, maize, cowpeas, and all those small soya beans and those small things. And we think that the inclusion of vulnerable crops like cocoa would improve, one, the activities on the commodities exchange and help develop the commodities market. But most importantly, on the farmer side, it's going to improve price discovery. Because the whole idea of the exchange is to show that there'll be visibility. Cocoa farmers can have visibility on the prices. Currently, gold, if you look at how gold is traded, a miner wakes up every morning, checks the global price of gold, and and everybody knows what gold is trading worldwide. And so based on that, they price their gold, and whatever discount they give you, they decide and they sell their gold. Farmers must have that price discovery, the opportunity to decide on some of these things. Then people say, okay, but Cocoa Board raises syndication on the back of this cocoa, and so how is Cocoa Board going to raise this money? We are saying, look, once you list cocoa on the commodities exchange, the arrangers will come, the dealers will come.
Now, civil society group the Amahoro Coalition is calling for a review of Ghana's laws to ensure refugees can secure employment and contribute their skills to national development. Although Ghana's Refugee Act of 1992 grants refugees the right to work, move freely and access public services, new research shows that administrative gaps continue to undermine these rights.
Speaking at the launch of the Pathways to Employment Country Report, Bathsheba Shate, Principal Strategy Custodian for Goods at the Amahoro Coalition, stressed the need for practical measures to support refugee integration. She highlighted access to the Ghana card as a critical step enabling refugees to participate fully in the economy and strengthen their contribution to the country.
I think that a policy reform that we need to work on is how people who have experienced displacement or refugees can access the Ghana card. Because without the Ghana card, you cannot really integrate. So without the Ghana card, you cannot get SNIT, you cannot get tier 2, you cannot get a bank account. There are some places you cannot even get a SIM card.
We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market. And 360, I am Michael Obodu. Up next is sports.
Why settle for a bouquet?
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. Mohamed Kudus will be working with a new manager at Tottenham Hotspur when he makes his injury return in April following the sacking of head coach Thomas Frank. The Danish coach has been dismissed by Spurs following a horrendous run of form in the Premier League, which has seen the North London club fail to win a game in their last 8 matches, their longest streak without a victory since October 2008. Frank's dismissal came following the 2-1 home defeat to fellow stragglers Newcastle United on Tuesday evening. Kudus was Frank's first signing when he joined Tottenham last June. Let's take a look at how the Ghanaian performed under the former Brentford manager. Looking at his numbers, and I think he got about 3 goals and then 6 assists there for Tottenham under Thomas Frank. And so we live to see who the next Tottenham manager would be for Kudus. And so there you have it, 26 games, 3 goals and 6 assists there for the Ghanaian international. Now, away from that, the Baba Yara Sports Stadium will roar back to life this Sunday as Asante Kotoko and Heart of Oak renew their historic rivalry in the Ghana Premier League Match Week 22 Super Clash. But this edition comes with a dramatic twist for the Porcupine Warriors following major changes in their technical setup ahead of the Crunch encounter. My colleague from Kumasi, Mano Owusu, has more in the following report.
Asante Kotoko go into the Super Clash after a turbulent week that saw head coach Karim Zito resign following a meeting with the club's interim management committee. The club has since appointed Prince Yaousu as interim head coach, with Hamza being named as his assistant to guide the team for Sunday's showdown against their sworn rivals Heart of Oak. Heart of Oak arrive in Kumasi sitting 4th on the league table with 36 points, while Asante Kotoko follow closely in 5th position with 35 points. Speaking for the first time since his appointment, interim coach Yaousu has apologized to the club supporters following their shocking round of 16 exit from the FA Cup against Adriana FC. Despite that setback, the former assistant coach believes the defeat will not affect the team's mentality heading into the Super Clash.
It's not going to be an easy game, but we're not going to go down. It's House of Folk. Definitely they would like to come here to fight us, but not this time around.
Returning striker Albert Amoa, who recently rejoined the club after a loan spell in Libya, is confident Kotoko can rise to the occasion and complete a double over Heart of Oak this season.
We are preparing very well, and I think we are working more on our goal scoring, and we also need to get more goals in that match. So I think we are ready for Sunday.
Beyond the pride and bragging rights, the Super Clash also carries serious implication for the league title race. League leaders Mediama SC currently hold an 8-point advantage at the top. Kotoko would once again rely on the famous Baba Yara Sports Stadium atmosphere, where the club has enjoyed strong performances this season. A change in leadership, wounded pride and renewed belief all combine to set the stage for another explosive chapter in Ghana's greatest football rivalry.
And as usual, you do know that you can get that Super Clash live here on TV3 on Sunday at 5 p.m. That match will be live here. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and entertainment news is up next.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. Kel Charcoal Toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo Kendini, a who be here, Samecha Sapapadia to a mammy manful, Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is wine, a man is swing, Nesansu Mama Hotel, so I will beg you.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle
and Napa Foods. Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Hello and good evening. I'm Esiedua Afeni. Now let's take a look at some entertainment stories. Ghana is one of the world's leading producers of shea butter, yet for decades the product has remained largely underutilized at home, exported mainly as raw material while other countries reap the higher economic value. The Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts has named cultural entrepreneur Hamamat Monteya as Ghana's shea butter ambassador following global attention sparked by a viral moment during America's streamer Aisho Speed's visit to her shea butter village.
The global shea butter market is currently valued between 2.4 and 2.75 billion US dollars, driven by demand from cosmetics and food industries. Ghana, despite being a top exporter, generated only about $118 million in 2023, highlighting what experts describe as a significant value gap. With the market projected to exceed $5 billion within the next decade, stakeholders say Ghana must transition from exporting raw nut to producing premium finished product. For Hamamat, the appointment is more than ceremonial.
We must move from being simply suppliers of raw materials to producers of premium, ethical, excellent African products. And Ghana can be the shining light. Recently, many of you saw our young brother, Aisho Speed, visit the Shea Butter Museum. That moment was not just viral, it was symbolic. It showed the world that the power, beauty, and dignity of African tradition. What they saw was not just entertainment, it was our heritage.
In more entertainment stories, Northern Heritage took center stage on TV3's morning show, New Day, as presenters and guests proudly wore the traditional garment, the smock, known locally as fugu, in celebration of Ghana's rich cultural fabric.
The vibrant display of culture turned the studio into a colorful showcase of Ghana's northern identity as hosts appeared in beautifully tailored smokes of different patterns and textures. From striped fugu to bold hand-woven designs, the outfits reflected craftsmanship and cultural depth of the northern regions, while the smock has long symbolized tradition, pride, and authority. The initiative forms part of growing efforts to promote made-in-Ghana fabrics and encourage patronage of locally produced garments. The presenters highlighting the importance of celebrating Ghanaian heritage through fashion. Guests on the show also commended the initiative, noting that the increasing visibility of the smock on national platform helped reposition it as both a cultural and contemporary fashion statement.
That's it for entertainment. I'm Esiedua Afeni.
On the international front, Nigeria's military says about 200 U.S. troops due to arrive in the coming weeks will not take part in combat action, and that Nigerian forces would retain full control over all security decisions. This follows comments from a U.S. official on Tuesday that the Pentagon planned to deploy the troops to train Nigerian forces fighting Islamist militants weeks after President Donald Trump ordered airstrikes against what he describes as Islamic State targets.
Well, that's our package for you tonight. There's always more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby, and thank you so much for joining us.
And I am Portia Gabodu. Join Alfredo Kansa at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.